Listen, I love Nintendo just as much as the next guy, but I really do have to call them out when they do very weird and bad things, and I think lately they have been completely and totally overblown. These things that people say that they've done, that they say have been bad and wrong. But one of the things that I really do think is pretty scummy is Nintendo's Switch 2 Edition releases, and that's what's very interesting to me because no one seems to be talking about those. Like, of all the things there are to talk about, no one is talking about the Switch 2 Edition debacle. It all started back in April when Nintendo decided to show us Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom coming to the Switch 2 as Switch 2 editions, and those games are phenomenal, both in 4K, 60 FPS. Now, I couldn't be happier to have those games on my Switch 2 running better than ever. I replayed a lot of Tears of the Kingdom and a little bit of Breath of the Wild. Both games look phenomenal. I loved both games. Now the thing is that this Switch 2 edition in particular is one that rubs me the wrong way because at the time, while I did see it as a lot of content and found it a little bit more justifiable than I do right now, looking back, I can see that the additions here were kind of lame. Because if you buy Breath of the Wild right now on your Nintendo Switch, you are going to be paying $60 for that experience. If you buy Tears of the Kingdom on your Switch, you are going to be paying $70 for this experience. Now, on the Switch 2, both those prices go up $10. And this is where things get a little bit dicey because I don't technically mind the $10 extra for some extra content and the graphical upgrade, but the problem here is that the only content that they add is what you're seeing on your screen right now, these smartphone editions. And the smartphone stuff is very cool, but it would have been 10 times better if they had been able to somehow integrate this into the actual game itself, integrate it into the experience to make it a little bit more seamless. Because when I'm playing something as immersive as Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild, the last thing I truly want to do is pick up my phone. That is only going to lead to other distractions. And if I am using it as a GPS or to find different memories, I'm most likely going to end up scrolling on something or just moving away. And maybe you could say that's my own fault for having a short attention span. And yes, I do agree I have a short attention span and I wish that was better and I really should work to make that a little better. But the problem here isn't with that. It's with the content not actually being in the game itself. That is what I really take issue with here, because with these Switch 2 editions, we see an interesting precedent being set. For all of these older games that are coming back, like Super Mario Party Jamboree, we are getting brand new content and being charged for content that we're not even really going to play. Most of these new modes do not appeal to the mass audience, and most of these modes are never going to appeal to that core audience. That core audience is going to be the people who bought those games on the Switch before and just want to play it again on the Switch 2 with better graphics. Now, Super Mario Party Jamboree really irks me. This is where things start to get wrong, because this game, I reviewed it last year on the Nintendo Switch, is the best Mario Party game of all time. I have no qualms with the actual game itself. But its Switch 2 edition is where things start to get even more upsetting, because this base game was not upgraded upon release. The Switch 2 edition that they so flippantly put on there did not upgrade your game experience whatsoever. The only new stuff that upgraded to 4K 60 FPS, to all of this Switch 2 edition stuff that you seem to be getting with your other games, only applied to the new modes. It did not apply to the base game. You could not play Super Mario Party Jamboree in the base mode. The reason you love that game, the reason you bought that game, you couldn't play the regular stuff in 4K. They just didn't do that. All they did was upcharge you even more for a Switch 2 edition that no one cares about. The Jamboree TV mode was awful. No one cared. I hated it. I didn't even pick it up because I saw other people playing it and it just looked disgustingly cheap. This release was bad. I skipped it entirely, and I just cannot tell you how frustrating this release makes me. I did not review this game. I decided to go out of my way to just completely and totally ignore this game because I wanted to see what the Nintendo Switch 2 editions were going to look like moving forward. And the only thing that I can really say about this game is that why in the world was it $20 for this upgrade pack? Why did they charge $20 for this? If you're going to charge $10 for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom's extra mode, extra edition, extra content, and the graphics, what is the thing here? What is the thing that is justifying a $20 upgrade pack? Because all I'm seeing is I'm paying $20 for a mode I am never going to touch, and most people are never going to touch. Ever. That is infuriating because the base game, the reason anyone would really care about these Switch 2 editions is to get free upgrades, to get graphical upgrades. And that's not what we're getting with Jamboree. The other thing that really just grinds my gears with Super Mario Party Jamboree plus Jamboree TV is not just the price itself, but the weird precedent that it began to set afterwards. Because with the Switch 2 editions and with the Switch 2 free upgrade packs that we also received alongside our Switch 2, that's right, they gave us free upgrades, all of these games here, for graphical updates for these games. And they didn't add any content and they gave those to us for free. And so this console can run games in 4K now, it can run games in 60 FPS, and they gave it to us for free for a lot of these amazing games. The only reason that they would ever go out of their way to do Switch 2 editions for these games is if they wanted to give us extra content and make us pay for it. So what did they do with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom? They gave us extra content. They shoved a bunch of smartphone slop on there to give us $10 extra worth of content to make you have to pay to get into this game on Switch 2. With Super Mario Party Jamboree plus Jamboree TV, this isn't even that. We're not even getting extra graphics. We're not even getting the real point of the actual graphical updates of the actual Switch 2 editions. We're only getting content we're never going to play. Now this moves on into Kirby and the Forgotten Land here. We got an experience that was much better than Super Mario Party Jamboree. The base game was upgraded into 4K 60 FPS. Crazy I even had to say that. But not only was it upgraded in terms of the base game and how it looked, but we got a bunch of new content as well. And yes, it was $20 worth of information, worth of content, worth of everything that they packed in there. They charged us $20 for the plus star-crossed world part of this game. And this game gave us about 5 extra hours of content, if that. If you really dragged it out and 100%ed it, that's about all you got. Now, it was a bunch of fun content, really great content added to a really great game, and yet I just can't justify it being $20 extra when we look back at Breath and Tears and see it was only $10 extra. It's this price mismanagement, it's this weirdness that we are seeing here with the difference in prices that really starts to get me, because with those two games, it's like, okay, we got smartphone stuff and graphics, only $10. And every other precedent being set after that seems to say, if you get extra content, then you paid $10 for that, and you paid $10 for the graphics. And it just doesn't line up, especially considering the free upgrade packs that I talked about earlier. Those were given to us for free, so they're trying to set a precedent there, saying, okay, you get free upgrades, you get free extra features, you get all these different things, and then if you want content later, you get to pay for that. So why is it that we're getting charged $10 for graphics, $10 for content? That's the only way I can feel like I can slice it there. Maybe it's $20 for the extra content alone, and that's why they're trying to do that, because they did technically release that Donkey Kong DLC for $20, and they didn't upgrade any graphics there because it was already on the Switch 2. So maybe that's what they want us to say. They want us to say it's worth the $20 for the content, and if that's the case, what a slap in the face, especially from Mario Party Jamboree. That game, $20 for that content, Ooh, that makes me mad. Star-Crossed World had a lot of content in it, and I'm not mad at that $20 price point, especially considering that the game released at $60 and was a lot less of an experience than you might have initially expected. That game was pretty short, Kirby and the Forgotten Land was. And so moving forward, I'm not super upset with that. I wasn't too mad at that. I was angry at Mario Party Jamboree, right? Then Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, I was like, okay, I can kind of swallow that. It's only $10 to play the games I really want to play in better graphical modes. Then we hit a new low, my friends, a new low with Super Mario Wonder plus Meetup at Bella Bell Park. Now listen, I love Super Mario Bros. Wonder as much as the next guy. This game is a renaissance for the 2D series, and I really think they hit gold here, and I cannot wait for the next 2D installment coming, probably within the next 4-ish years on the Nintendo Switch 2. But adding in a bunch of random content does not justify the $20 price point that I am sure they are going to charge us old owners of this game, and the $80 price point that new buyers are going to have to swallow if they want to get into this experience. Bella Bell Park looks interesting. It looks fun enough, but it is multiplayer focused, and that is criminal in my opinion. That is the same problem that Super Mario Party Jamboree had. It focused on multiplayer. And of course, that's not a big problem for most people. Most people are going to say this is worth it for that multiplayer, fun, chaotic couch experience. But I look at this content and I say, Why couldn't this have just been free or only $10? What about this is worth $20? Now listen, I am excited for this game. I will probably end up picking this upgrade pack up. I'll probably end up getting the Switch 2 edition because I already have the base game, so it's not going to cost me $80, but it will cost about $20 for me to get this, and I probably will not even touch this multiplayer stuff because I am a big single player guy, and if there's any multiplayer aspect to any game, I'm hoping that online will satisfy that. I'm hoping I can jump online with people, and that is where I'll be able to play. And if not, then I'm never going to try it out. And this just seems like something that I'm never going to try out. And I'm not sitting here and trying to say, because it doesn't appeal to me, it won't appeal to anyone. But what I am saying is, this feels gimmicky. A lot of these things look cool on the surface, might be fun for an afternoon with some friends, but after you do each and every one of these things once, you're going to be tired of them. It looks to me like these things are not going to last. You are not going to enjoy this experience as long as the original game, not even close to it. Now, the one shimmering, glimmering light of hope in the tunnel here is the return of the Koopalings. Now, that could mean something really big. That could mean that there's going to be even more content that they're not showing us that might appeal more to my single player side and to a lot of people's single player side, because most people probably enjoyed this experience by themselves or with, I guess on couch co-op, they could have done that. But I really think most people probably played that game single player and they are looking for single player experiences. Koopalings being in this game, and then we see that Rosalina is coming to this game, so that means they're adding more characters. That makes it justifiable even more so than I initially expected. But when I first saw this, I just couldn't have been any less caring about it. Now, sure, I did predict this coming, so I was excited to see it coming since I had predicted it, and I like to be right on my predictions. I don't like to just throw crap on the wall and see what sticks. I really like to try to think it out, and so I was happy to see that this did come true in my predictions here, but I am more caring about what the content is going to look like and how much they're charging for it. And that is where we get back to this whole Switch 2 edition debacle to begin with. What is the biggest problem with all of this? It has to be the variable pricing that Doug Bowser was talking about earlier this year before he ended up retiring at the end of this year now. We just see a very weird precedent, a very weird amount of pricing going on here, and it just doesn't seem to be consistent. Because now, if we look at these newer games here, we have Metroid Prime 4 Beyond getting a Switch 2 edition at launch, and Pokemon Legends ZA getting a Switch 2 edition at launch. Both games are going to be charging $70 to get into it and only have to have those graphical updates. You're paying $10 extra essentially for graphics. That is where I kind of get into this conversation versus content and graphics, because people will say, okay, well, if you think it's only $20 and it's $10 for graphics, $10 for content, what happened to the original upgrade packs? Those were free, so aren't graphics free and the content is what cost you $20? I would say, what in the world are we looking at here then? If these graphics are supposed to be free, if that upgrade pack is supposed to be saying that Nintendo values graphics at $0, that the console runs it, and that they're just not going to charge us for that, why is it that these Switch 2 editions now all of a sudden cost $10 extra just for graphics being better on the same game? Now, of course, with Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, we are going to have access to mouse controls, and that's going to be a big selling point for that game. It's probably going to be the way I start that game, and we'll see if I finish it that way. Not sure. It just depends. I don't know how comfortable that's going to be using that Joy-Con 2 as a mouse on my lap. But I still look at those two games, and I see confusion in my own eyes. I look back in the mirror, and I see confusion. Because especially with Pokemon Legends ZA, there is no extra content. There is no Switch 2 bonus. It's simply paying $10 extra because it's on the Switch 2. Now, I do understand saying, okay, Switch 2 games are all $70 baseline. Anything else less than that is something like a remake, remaster, like Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. They're sold separately for $40. Older games may be cheaper, but moving forward, the baseline price for new Nintendo games are going to be $70, and this is technically a new Nintendo game. That's the only argument I can see that makes any sort of sense, and it's still kind of frustrating. Now, I'm not saying that those games should just be worth $60 for us on the Switch 2, but especially for Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, why are you charging the fullest amount that you can on that game when you've not marketed it very well, when people are a little bit confused about its purpose after the last Direct showing us a trailer in which we see a motorcycle in a weird empty open world? It's just not what Metroid Prime 4 and Metroid Prime in the past have been. And so as we move forward, I think the Switch 2 problem can be addressed and can be fixed with new releases. If Super Mario Bros. Wonder is only $70 and that upgrade pack is only $10 to get this Bella Bell Park stuff, I'm not going to be mad at that. If we go back to that Tears of the Kingdom Breath of the Wild style where you're only paying $10 for this new stuff, that's great. But if we get to a point where we're paying $80 full to get into this, $90 full to get into this, it's just too much. I am not a fan of $80 games. I bought Mario Kart World within that bundle, so I only paid $50 for that, and I know a lot of you guys did as well. Early adopters are going to have that blessing, but as we move forward into the Switch generation, those bundles are they're going to dwindle. They're not going to be out there as much, and if people want to buy Mario Kart World, they're going to have to pay $80. And so I'm not a huge fan of the negativity surrounding Nintendo right now. I'm not a huge fan or advocate of them even being more greedy than ever. I don't think so. I think that they've just always tried to push it as far as they can, and it's up to us, right, to see whether or not they're going to continue that, because if you make this Switch 2 another Wii U, they're going to definitely change things. But if they're not, if you're not going to do it, if anyone's going to stop it, it's not going to happen. So as we move forward into the future, the Switch 2 editions can certainly get better. I have hope for that. I do think with that Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom package, we can look forward with hope. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom were great additions for the Switch 2, with Metroid Prime 4 Beyond and now Pokemon Legends ZA being $70, and probably Tomodachi Life Living the Dream and probably Rhythm Heaven Groove getting their own Switch 2 editions, which I would be shocked if they didn't release for any less than $70. Those will hopefully set a precedent moving forward. Mario Wonder, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, plus Star-Crossed World, those are unfortunate because those are old games coming back, being charged for $20. And that's just too much, in my opinion. They're just not offering enough content, and they're essentially charging you for the capabilities of the console. And I don't like that argument because I think it is too all-encompassing. It's not nuanced enough for me personally, but I do think that moving forward, this can get better. And I will say, for now, Nintendo is not as bad as people are making them out to be. This particular Switch 2 edition bug is just really getting to me personally. So all of the people who go out there and talk weird about Nintendo, talk bad about Nintendo, I never see them talking about Switch 2 edition. So I figured I'd hop on here and give you my take on that. So thank you very much for making it to the end of the video. Make sure you like this video, subscribe, press that hype button. The hype button helps the channel out a ton. Small channels like mine, it really boosts them up the rankings and gets people's eyes on them. Click that notification bell to see exactly when my videos release, and consider joining my membership program to join just a few bucks a month, help support me as a content creator, and just get a couple cool perks for yourself. Make sure you click on the left side of your screen to see my latest video talking about Donkey Kong Bonanza, and click on the right side of your screen to see my video talking about Alarma 1 year later. Thank you very much for making it to the end of the video. You make sure you have yourself a phenomenal day. This has been Ray's Nintendo Talk. I have been Ray, and I will see you all in the next video.